Actually, one time, I tell you, I got treed by a grizzly bear, and I was up in this tree looking down this bear, and I got to thinking about how smart bears are. I heard about these black bears in Yosemite, how they're actually using tools nowadays to get hikers food out of the trees. You know, backpackers will hang the food up there, but these bears, they'll come along, they'll see that food, and they'll maneuver a branch into place, and they'll use it as a tool to pull down the food and get dinner. Pretty smart. Then I heard about these bears up in Alaska. I really like this one, how they check out the pickup trucks along the pipeline, and they're looking for a truck with a lunch in it. And if there's a lunch in it, very neatly with their claws, they'll pop the windshield and get in there and have something to eat. Pretty smart. Well, this bear that had me up in the tree was no dummy either, you see, because after 5 or 10 minutes or so, he finally just kind of looked up at me and nodded his head and walked off and out of sight. I gave him a few minutes before he come down. You know, it was 45, I think. And I was just about ready to come down out of the tree, and I hear this noise. Here comes this bear back with another bear. And they both start going at the tree, growling and scratching and shaking it off. They're just hugging those limbs for all it's worth. And finally, after about 20 or 30 minutes, they finally both stopped and they just stared at me, kind of like they were studying me or something. And then finally they walked off together and out of sight. And I'm thinking, okay, Jim, you're okay. And I'm just about ready to come down out of the tree. And here come these two bears back with a beaver. True story. The fact that we do have a lot of water in this country, and a lot of it is still clean. And it's still clean because we passed a law 30 years ago or so called the Clean Water Act. And the last 30 years, our water in America, the quality has gotten better every year. Great thing. Better. Until 3 years ago. Worse. That's scary when we turn around progress and start going back downhill. And so there's this new law that's been introduced. It's called now this is a mouthful, Clean Water Authority Restoration Act. And basically it just reinstills the protections of the Clean Water Act that we passed years ago. And it's a shame that we have to do that, but I have more information about it on my table. But this affects our health and the health of the generations to follow us. And we owe it to not only to ourselves, but to those that will come later. How many of you have spent time in our national forests? Just about every hand in here is going up. Isn't it a wonderful concept that we have commons, land that belongs to all of us? And in our national forests, there's currently an overabundance of roads. In fact, there's enough roads on our national forest land to circle the globe 15 times. That's a lot of miles of road just in our national forests. And a lot of those roads are falling apart. The maintenance hasn't been done, and so a lot of them are sloping into the watersheds, the streams, and the rivers, causing a lot of problems for wildlife. Roads are generally bad for the biology of an area. They cause habitat fragmentation, they allow catastrophic forest fires, bad for poaching, exotic weeds, on and on and on. And that's why several years ago, I should say, a lot of people were real excited about the prospect of keeping our roadless lands on our national forests, keeping them roadless into the future, because we do have some areas that are still without roads. And all these scientists signed on to it, and about 1.5 million people took the effort to write and make calls and make comments about that rule. The vast majority, about 90% of those comments, were in favor of keeping those roadless lands wild. It was very exciting. And then a few years ago, of course, things changed, and that rule was kind of done away with. But Senator Cantwell from Washington State decided, hey, you know, that was a good rule. That was good for the health of our national lands. And so she proposed a bill a couple weeks ago, and that would make that rule a law, and it would keep our roadless lands roadless into the future. And it didn't outlaw going in there for special things. And, there was a lot of provisions allowed for various emergencies, but it was a very good thing. And again, that's on that postcard. I hope that's one of our issues too, that along with the wild waters and the wild lives, we're looking at the wild lands too.
A mountain goat's a proud one, living up away so high. The way he leaps from rock so steep, you'd think that he could fly. He jumping here, he jumping there. He's a bold one, he doesn't care. Up on a cliff, he's not afraid. It's a mountain goat, a promenade. He jumping here, he jumping there. He's a bold one, he doesn't care. Up on a cliff, he's not afraid. It's a mountain goat, a promenade. It's a mountain goat, a promenade. It's a mountain goat, a promenade.